Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited because today we are going to review a collection for spring 2022. I know it feels a little bit early to be reviewing spring products in January, but you know how it is in the makeup community, everything rolls out super early. And this was a collection I was super excited for, so I'm glad that I can sit down and talk with all of you about it today. And the collection I am referring to is the Too Faced Too Femme collection. So this is the eyeshadow box, that's the name of the collection there, and it is a very spring pastel collection, and all the packaging has butterflies on it. So if you are interested in hearing my thoughts and reviews on this collection and seeing some swatches and seeing me actually apply it, then just keep watching. Okay, so jumping into the video, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. So again, just one more time, a little closer. Here is the box for the eyeshadow. So you can see it's this light blue packaging with the butterflies. It's so beautiful. The back of the packaging has the shades there. Obviously, we'll get to those in a minute. The other product, or the next product in the collection, was a blush. So it also has the Too Femme collection name with the butterfly packaging, but this component is in the pink carton. And there is only one, I'm not sure. Actually, I think the shade name is actually just Too Femme, like the collection, so the name is the name of the collection. They did also come out with mascaras. So if you're familiar with the Too Faced Better Than Sex formula, it comes in the pink packaging, and then they've also got a waterproof formula in the blue packaging. And so with this collection, there was a special edition release of both of those formulas. So the waterproof one in blue packaging, but the component is covered with butterflies. And then the original formula, the Better Than Sex, in the pink packaging, again, just with butterflies on the mascara tube itself. So those were, I believe they were $27, which is more than if you just buy a regular tube of Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. And so I did not feel like it was worth my money to spend extra just to have special packaging on a mascara product, mainly because you're supposed to throw mascara out like every 3 to 6 months. And so if I'm going to be throwing it out, I'm not going to just save it to have the packaging to look at. So it just felt like a waste. But what I do have is one of the samples of the original formula. I've been using this mascara for years and years and years, so I feel comfortable talking about it and leaving a review on it. You know, obviously the only difference is the packaging in this case. So I will be using that as well in the tutorial part. And I also picked up, dropping everything as per usual. I also picked up 2 of the lipsticks. So they're also in the pink cartons with the butterflies and the name Too Femme. And these are the shades that I picked up, 02 Too Femme and then 06 Sweet Tea. The main reason that I got 2 of these was because I didn't buy the mascara, so I felt like I could put the money I didn't use towards the mascara towards an extra lipstick. So I'm super, super excited to share these with you. So what I'm going to do is do swatches of everything and then do a live application of everything as well. So the eyeshadow, the blush, and one of the lipsticks, and I'll swatch both lipsticks on the back of my hand, and then we'll have the mascara as well. So for the eyeshadow packaging first, I'm going to start there. So when you take it out of the cardboard component, this is what the palette looks like. Very similar. It says Too Faced, obviously has the butterflies. If you flip that over, you're going to see the name Too Femme on this side here, again with the butterflies, and then the shade names. Now this sells for $38. I had no problem paying that price. I'm a big fan of Too Faced eyeshadows, which I've mentioned before on this channel, and this felt like a fair price to me for what I was getting. I was a really big fan of the color story and the packaging as well. Now I know some people were not happy with this once they received it in the mail because they thought the palette was going to be much bigger. So I think the assumption was that this is a lot thinner than like their standard palettes, which are probably more about like that. I think people thought they were paying $38 for a palette of that size. But that really wouldn't make sense when typically those palettes are over $50 a piece anyway. So I don't think Too Faced would come out with one for $38 that was the same size as ones that in the past have been around $50 a piece. So I was expecting it to be closer to this size, but just be aware of that if you are looking at photos online. Some people were put off by the size of the palette. All right, so now we'll jump to the inside. I'm gonna zoom in even further, and in a minute I'm gonna keep this zoom in where you can see me applying the shadows, but here is the packaging. It is cardboard with a magnetic closure, and here is the full palette itself. So obviously one of the things that are unique about the palette, I'm trying to get this lined up even, sorry, is that they have 2 giant pans there. Obviously the first one on the left and then the bottom on the right. There is a butterfly embossed in that bottom one, the large pan that's like a brown color. I don't mind when they do these larger pans. I think their assumption is that we'll use those colors more frequently. Personally, I don't think I'm gonna use that really pale white shade in the top that often, but that brown would probably be a good crease color. It does have a mirror. But yeah, so lots of really pretty shimmer shades in here. It does have a strong floral scent. I feel like we're too zoomed in for swatches. I'm gonna go back. Okay, it does have a strong floral scent, so it wasn't a situation where like when I just open it, I'm hit with fragrance like some Too Faced products, but if you get about right in this area, it just does smell like a strong floral smell. So like if you literally were to smell a bouquet of flowers, that's what it reminds me of. Obviously though, it's an artificial floral smell and not fresh flowers, what they actually smell like. But I find the scent to be pleasant. I don't mind that it's scented at all. So I guess what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and start swatching these. And I'll hold my arm like this. All right, so let's do some finger swatches. These are gonna be, this is my first impressions on using these. I haven't touched the eyeshadows at all. So the first shade we're gonna go into is that like matte bone cream color, which looks like it's gonna be very close, yeah, to my skin tone. So you probably can't see that one at all. The name of that one is Hearts of Flutter. Next to that one is gonna be a really pretty metallic color. It looks like a pinky purple. I'm trying to not swatch on over the top of that cream one that I just did. Very pretty, very pigmented, very creamy. This almost feels like one of those kind of wet shadows. It's a very interesting feeling. It's kind of like a purpley pink shimmer. And that one is called Hard On. Next to that one is Meant to Be, which is a very pretty icy mint green color. One of my favorites in the palette, honestly. So it does look very, like I said, icy. In person, it does read pretty good as like a mint green color. Then we've got, right next to that icy mint green, we have Make It Rain, which is a matte mint green, a little bit darker, but still. So I'm gonna Make It Rain. That one was pretty powdery in the pan too. Next to Make It Rain, this one looks like one of those matte powders that has some glitter in it. This one is called Chrysalis Crush. It's just like a lavender purple with some sparkles in it. These are swatching very fair. Obviously I'm super fair skinned, so the color's probably showing up decent on me because I'm so pale, but just keep in mind that these are not super pigmented, at least in finger swatches so far. Next to that one is gonna be our first matte that's kind of like a, probably people would put in the crease or on their lid shade. It's called You Give Me Butterflies. It's like a pinky nude, depending on what your skin tone is. Pulls more brown in the swatch than it did in the pan. And then next to that one is a darker matte brown. And this one is called Free to Be Femme. Free to Be Femme. Just a dark brown there. Okay, so I'm gonna wash those ones off just because I was running awkwardly out of space. I really got to practice my swatches because I really struggle with those. I'm sure if you watch my other videos, you know I struggle with swatches. All right, and then for the bottom row, I'm just gonna go ahead and read the shade names out now. We have Soft Landing, Hear Me Roar, Pretty Powerful, Think Pink, Too Femme, Fiercely Femme, and Queen of Everything. So the first one on the left hand there is going to be a really pretty mauvey, dusty pink. And again, this one is not going to be super pigmented, but we will see. It just feels very, very powdery in the pan. Yeah, so that does not at all look like how it looks in the pan. In the pan, it looks more rich and like it should be kind of a bold matte, so that's unfortunate. Right next to that matte is a shimmery pink that looks kind of like a metallic version of that pink. That one is very pigmented, so it's interesting because the shimmers in here, they feel almost like a wet texture, so I feel like that they're going to be really great to use with your fingers on the lids, but I'm not so happy with the matte so far. Next is our third one here. So just a reminder, we had Soft Landing, Hear Me Roar, and then this is Pretty Powerful. And again, that's like a pinky brown shade, kind of similar on the skin to that pinky nude, that the second to last one on the top. So that feels like a repeat shade that's not necessary. Next is the one that looks the most glittery in the palette to me. It looks like it has big chunks of glitter in the pan, but I can't tell how it's gonna swatch, so let's see. Yeah, just like an icy pink there on that one. That one's even more pigmented than the other shimmers have been. Then next to that one, we do have a dark matte pink. I would probably call this a magenta matte. Again, it doesn't pick up that great on my finger, so let's see how it swatches. Better than the other mattes have swatched, but definitely still not that great. For as vibrant as it looks in the pan, that feels like a really weak swatch, unfortunately. So again, not too happy with that. And then our second to last shade is like a metallic burgundy. That one swatches great. Again, all the shimmers have swatched great. And then the last one is the one that has the pretty butterflies embossed. I feel bad, I sadly just ruined them to get the swatch. And this is kind of just, again, another like mid-tone brown. That one pulls pretty warm, not swatching great. So upon first application, I'm not a huge fan of these. I'm really disappointed. So Too Faced has been a brand that I've liked since I first got into makeup. They were one of the reasons that I really got into makeup. I went to Ulta one time with my mom and saw their packaging. It was a fairy collection, which this has been years ago, so I don't know if you remember that, but it was a holiday collection that had this beautiful like glitter frosted pastels fairy collection. It was really, really striking. And that was when I first got into makeup, so I've always had like a soft spot for Too Faced. Obviously, they remain cruelty-free, which is huge, and I wouldn't use them if they weren't. But yeah, so this, I'm kind of seeing now maybe why this got bad reviews on both online at Sephora and at Ulta. So really quickly, I'll show you again the colors that we just had swatched. So I think if you look there, obviously some of those are definitely meant to be pastels. I just feel like even though they're meant to be pastels, they're not swatching like good pastel shades, if that makes sense. So I'm curious to see how these are gonna perform on the eye. So what I'm gonna do now is start just doing an eye look. I really don't have in mind what I wanna do necessarily so far, but I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you in like we were before so that you can really see it. If you're curious about what I have on my face so far, you can find it in the box down below, but I did go ahead and do foundation, powder, bronzer, and highlighter. Obviously no blush yet because we're gonna use the blush from the collection. And then I did put a little bit of the Urban Decay Primer Potion eyeshadow primer on my lids. So I think what we'll start with is we'll just kind of do a basic look today, I guess, to just try out as I'm not gonna be able to use all of the shades, but as many of the shades as we can. And since I have one like a lavender purple shirt, I'm gonna definitely try that lavender shade in there for sure. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is just take a generic fluffy brush. So I've got this one from Alamar Cosmetics. I don't think it has a name on it. I'm pretty sure this is from, yeah, Alamar. All right, so I'm actually gonna go in with that dusty pink shade that was the first shade on the bottom for my crease. I'm gonna start there. So this color down here, which is called Soft Landing. Again, this did not swatch great, so I'm really curious to see how this is gonna like pick up on the brush and go on my eye. Very fair, ugh, not great. So now that I'm using a brush to pick up the shadows, it is kind of making there be kickback in the pan, and that floral fragrance is way stronger now. So I do think when you start using the shades and start moving the powders around, you're really gonna smell that floral scent a lot stronger than I originally thought it was, so be aware of that if you're not into fragrances. So I feel like in person you can see it, but on camera you can barely even tell that there's anything on my eye there. So I'm gonna go in and fill up the brush pretty heavy so it's packed with a lot of powder there. Try to build that up a little bit. It definitely is building up, but it is not getting anywhere near to the color or opacity that we see in the pan, which is very unfortunate. And honestly, this is not like Too Faced mattes for me. Usually I don't have a problem with Too Faced mattes. So I'm gonna try to build it up a little bit more again. This is like my 4th or 5th time going in, and I think this is gonna be as dark as I can get it. So that's what it's looking like currently, which you can see it on camera. It's a little bit better to see in person, but not much. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna try to darken that up with that darker magenta color. So this color right here at the bottom, it's almost a hot pink, and that's the shade called Too Femme. I'm gonna see if I can build up kind of the outer corner of my crease using that shade. And I'm just gonna go in with like a smaller little fluffy brush for now. So I'm using this one from BH Cosmetics. There's glitter all over my hands too. That's fallout from the eyeshadow. If you're curious about glitter fallout getting on your clothes or your body, there definitely is glitter fallout. All right, so I'm gonna take that clean BH brush and go in here and just see if we can darken this crease up. Obviously that color is working a lot better. It doesn't surprise me though, because this shade looks like a very, very dark shade in the pan. So if it didn't apply significantly darker than the first shade we went in with, I would be not too happy about that, but it's doing okay. I still don't think this looks like what it looks like in the pan. It's closer than the first shade we used was, and it is blending out very, very nicely. I do have to give credit for that, but if you were looking for super pigmented shadows, I just don't think this is the palette for you, which makes me sad because that was what I was hoping to get in the collection. So it blended out great, but still just not a huge fan of the opacity compared to what we're seeing in the pan. All right, so that's what we're working with so far. Just kind of a blown out, kind of elongated, pulled up into the corner cat eye kind of situation there. So I think what I want to do now, let's see. It's so hard to make decisions. Let's see. So I think what I'll do. All right. So what I think I'm gonna do is go in now and put that purple color all over the rest of my lid. So the lavender shade right here, top row, this one, and that one is called Chrysalis Crush. And so I'm gonna go in with a, let's use this Milk Cosmetics. It's a very fat, dense little packer brush, and I'm just gonna try to pack that purple on the rest of my lid as much as I can. I don't know how it's gonna show up, obviously, but let's see if this type of brush helps. So that is just terrible application there. So this feels like the specific shade that I was very excited for because I love lavender purples. The brush is packed and loaded with it, and this is going on like something you would buy from like the dollar store, like a dollar store eyeshadow. That's pathetic. I'm so not happy with this so far. Okay, I'm gonna try to build it up one more time. So I'm going in 3rd time now with a super packed packer brush and just barely nothing. So this doesn't even look purple on the lid to me. In person it looks more like a pinky icy kind of color. Definitely not what it looks like in the pan, and not a fan of it at all. So very, very disappointing so far. Let's try now and see if maybe we go in with one of those pretty glitter colors, if that can kind of redeem it. So this is a brush from the same collection from Milk Cosmetics. It's just smaller and even more dense. And so I'm actually going to go in with that first shimmer that I swatched that looks like it has lavender in it. That shade is called Hard On, which is this color right here. So see how it kind of looks lavender in the pan. I'm gonna go in with that with this brush, and let's see if I can just do something to bring some drama to the look, or even just make this not look like really cheap eyeshadow. So this picked up horribly on the brush. It came off in a huge, big, chunky mess all over the brush there, so I don't even know how this is gonna apply. So let's, I'm gonna go in the middle here of my lid and just start placing it. So the glitter finish on that is great, very sparkly and gorgeous. It's actually applying really well with a brush, but we completely lost any of the color of it. So this literally just looks like a frosty, semi-sheer glitter to me, which is very pretty, and I would use this again, of course, but it's not what it looks like. So when I'm trying to think of a look to do with this eyeshadow palette and with this color story, this feels like it should be a very dark, kind of, again, a lavender mauve-y shimmer, and it just looks like rainbow-esque sparkly glitter on my lid. So it's pretty, but again, not at all what it looks like in the pan. So that's not great. Sorry, this is the first time I filmed a video where like it just really wasn't going so great. So now what I'm gonna do is take my finger and try to smash this back in to fix that shade where it got messed up, and then any extra I'm just gonna take and use my finger there. All right, so that's really, really unfortunate. I think I'm kind of over this. I'm probably gonna return this to Ulta if I can find my receipt. I'm pretty sure you don't even have to have a receipt. They can look it up through your point account with them. So hopefully this will probably be a return. But let's just go ahead and try one more of those mattes. So what I do want to do is that really pretty matte mint green color. I am going to try to put that heavily under the lash line, a little bit thicker than I normally would, and see how that goes. So I don't know if I want to use this. Yeah. So this is kind of an angled brush. It's fluffy, but it's kind of densely packed. So I like to use this brush if I'm trying to get kind of a deeper under the eye look, if that makes sense. So like I don't want it to be super close and tight to the lash line. I just want it to have like a blown out kind of look to it. So super packed on the brush there on the end with that mint green color. And let's see how this is gonna go on. And again, this is pretty horrendous. Let's try second coat. So it definitely built up on a second coat, but this is just not what I expect from Too Faced as a brand. This is not good, not good, not good. Okay, so I think I'm just honestly gonna stop there. I think I'm gonna unfortunately return the palette. So just one more time, it is so gorgeous. Like I love this color story. The problem with a color story though is if it's not gonna show up on the lid the way the colors look, like what's the point of liking the color story if the colors aren't even on the eye the way that they look? So I think that this, you know, it's a pretty eye, but it just is not what I was expecting. So that's a really big bummer. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll finish the same thing that I did on this eye. I'm gonna go off camera and do it on the other eye, and then I'll come back and we'll do the lipsticks, one of the lipsticks and the blush, and see if that's any better. I am gonna put some eyeliner. I'm probably gonna go ahead and wing that out. Actually no, since it's such a soft look, I'm not gonna put on fake lashes today. I'm just gonna use mascara. So I'm gonna go in with the Too Faced Better Than Sex. So remember, this is the original formula, but you can buy it in the butterfly packaging if you want to spend a lot of extra money, which I personally did not. So I'm just gonna go straight in. I haven't curled my lashes. There's nothing else on. So this is literally just how my lashes are gonna look after one application with the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now this used to be my all-time favorite mascara for years. It was, in my opinion, the best cruelty-free on the market mascara you could get. Since then I found others that I like better. Some of them are significantly cheaper as well, such as the Essence Lash Princess mascara. But I still find myself buying this time to time, or at least being happy when I get samples, you know, for free added to orders or something like that, because it really still is a great mascara. It's just not my favorite anymore. But I don't have great lashes to begin with. My lashes are pretty, they're not short, but they're just really thin and straight and blonde. And so it's hard for me to really find a mascara that I love, because I just think I look better when I wear fake lashes. But so this is going in with one coat of it there, so you can definitely see a difference, and you can see what I'm talking about. It definitely works. I'm gonna go on the bottom. I do like this one a lot to use on my bottom lash line as well, because it doesn't smear a lot, and I don't get a lot of like those little black flaky dots under my eye throughout the day. Like once it dries down, it's on. And I think that this, even though this is kind of a fatter wand, it doesn't go everywhere when you try to use it. So really quickly, let me show you up close on that wand. It's kind of hourglass shaped. Again, just want to point out how much glitter is all over my hands, fall out from that palette. But yeah, so that's what the wand looks like. I don't think you can go wrong with this mascara. If you pick this mascara up, I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I feel super confident and comfortable recommending that to all of you. So I just want to quickly do one more coat just to show you, if you did want to do it even more dramatic with two coats, what it would look like. Alright, so that's 2 coats of the mascara. I'm sure you can significantly see a difference in the 2 eyes there. So far, obviously we haven't tried the blush or the lipsticks yet. I did wear one the other day and I really enjoyed it, so I'll talk about those when I come back. But for now, what I'm gonna do is just pop off, finish the other eye, and put mascara, and then probably put a little bit of a pink liner in my waterline. So I will be right back. Alright everyone, so I'm back. Obviously I just balanced out and finished the eyes. I'll zoom you in there so you can kind of see it in just really quick. So you can see how it looks there. So I still like the look finished. Like looking at myself in the mirror, I feel like this is a really pretty eyeshadow look, but it's not what I expected to get from this specific palette. And I'm disappointed in the fact that it cost as much as it did. So specifically what I'm gonna say right off the bat about that is I'm not gonna recommend this eyeshadow palette, which just kills me because I was so excited about it. But I just can't. So it's just not worth $38. And I hate to say that because I was legit so excited about it. You can probably tell from the beginning of the video, I was so excited. Now I've decided I'm gonna keep it, which sounds weird probably after I just said that I don't think you should buy it. I like the shimmers a lot, so I'm willing to try it a few more times with maybe some of those more nude pink, darker brown tones. Maybe try out that burgundy shimmer and kind of see what I can come up with. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna give it one more chance for me to keep it personally, but as far as recommending it to people, no, I'm not gonna recommend it. If you are looking for an eyeshadow palette that kind of gives this kind of soft, ethereal, glittery pastel look, I would recommend the Wet n Wild Little Twin Stars palette. Hang on one second, my cat's at the door. Sorry, my cat Gremlin wanted to come back in after he decided to leave. I guess he wanted to come back in and see how he liked the blush and the lipsticks, which we're gonna get to in just a second. But yeah, so I would recommend the Little Twin Stars palette from Wet n Wild. It's less than half the price of this palette. Similar colors. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's an exact dupe by any means, but just kind of a glittery pastel ethereal look with some pops of some neutrals in there. That palette, I think, gives you this kind of a look for a whole lot less money, and the packaging on that collection is super cute too. It's not as cute as the butterflies, but it's really close. So yeah, if you're curious about that palette, I do have that whole collection reviewed in another video. You can go back and look at that. And honestly, I think the look I created in that video is pretty similar to this eye look as well. So I didn't put any liquid eyeliner on, which normally I would definitely do, but today I'm just kind of, I think I'm so sad that the palette was bad that it brought me down and I didn't feel like doing anything else fancy. No lashes, no liquid liner or anything. Now, just because the palette was a disappointment, I'm not going to let that influence my thoughts on the 2 lipsticks that I have and the blush. So as I mentioned before, the 2 lipsticks I have, so I have the shade, here's one more time, the cardboard packaging, and I have the shade Too Femme, and I have the shade Sweet Tea. And I think Sweet Tea was kind of the darkest, if you want to say darkest, one out of the collection. So the one that I've worn already was Sweet Tea. I wore it for about 5 hours. It did need to be touched up after eating, but it wasn't difficult to touch up because it's one of those lipsticks that has that balmy texture to it, so it doesn't dry your lips out by any means. It feels very comfortable to wear, and so if it comes off, you can just very quickly, smoothly do one quick swipe and it's already fixed and good to go. So the packaging of the lipstick itself, I'm going to show you my Sweet Tea one first. So again, this is the shade that I already wore. So it looks like this. It has this matte pink for the lid and then this gold bottom. The tube itself is in the shape of a heart. So you can see there it has the shade name on the bottom, Sweet Tea, and it looks like this. When you pull the lid off, it slides up like this, and so the lid itself has a circle inside it obviously, but if you want it to line up evenly with the tube, you're gonna have to put it back on like this, so like it won't go down all the way if you don't have the heart lined up, which is, I think, slightly annoying, but like it's annoying in the sense that if you're in a hurry and you're trying to touch up really quick and go and then throw it back in your purse, which is what I was doing, you have to kind of mess with it until you get it to line back up. Now, having said that, I do think the idea of it being this heart cylinder shape is super cute. It does have Too Faced on the top of it there. So it is super cute packaging. My only complaint is that, honestly, it feels a little plain when compared to all the other items in the collection. So I'm really missing the butterflies on the lipstick. So I think that instead of just having this matte pink, even if there was just like one butterfly or a little something or a butterfly on the lid, just something to tie, if I don't have the outer packaging anymore and this is like sitting on my vanity, I want to remember that it's part of this collection, and so I think it would be great if butterflies could have somehow been incorporated into this. So like I said, I've used this one already. I will show you one more time what it looks like. So this was the darkest shade. If you look at it, it does have that hardcore center. Mine is a little bit messed up, obviously, because I've already used it. So once you use it, the darker shade is going to go over that little hardcore part. But I did like that even after I used it, you could still tell that it had a hardcore center. So I think that they designed the packaging and then the component of the actual lipstick very well. So I'll zoom in close up and do a swatch on the back of my hand with this one. So again, this is shade 06 Sweet Tea. And you can see there, it just has like a really pretty balmy texture consistency. It kind of reminds me of the color of Sweet Tea, so I'm assuming that's why they named it Sweet Tea. But yeah, so it's not super opaque. I feel like your lips can definitely show through, like your natural lips definitely show through it to an extent. But I think that if you used a lip liner with it, that would take care of that. But it is one of those products that I think, whoops, wrong button. It is one of those products I think that, you know, it's easy to have in your purse or whatever you're carrying it around. You whip it out, you use it, you're good to go. It does feel like a chapstick, so it's good for the winter time. I do think that this is a cute Valentine's Day gift idea. So obviously the heart packaging is why I'm saying that, and the hardcore. So I do recommend these so far. It's just I think you should be aware of what you're buying and be very clear up front that it is, like on the back of my hand there, it's more of a balm than a lipstick. So I would call this more a tinted balm, maybe a very pigmented tinted balm is kind of how I think of it, instead of it being a lipstick. Now, the one that I have not used yet is the shade 02, which is named after the collection, so it's called Too Femme. One more time, I'll show you that there. And this one is supposed to be a mid-tone pink. And so again, same component as before, obviously that heart shape at the bottom. You've got the Too Faced on the top, and then the little sticker with the shade name. This one hasn't been used yet, so you can actually see what this one looks like when you just take it straight out of the tube. So let's zoom in one more time there. So here's what it's looking like in the tube. And actually this one looks pretty similar to this color of the Sweet Tea one, now that I'm looking at it. So I'm curious to see when it's swatched what this is gonna look like next to it. It's not as pink as I thought it would be, but maybe when it swatches it will be. I hate, again, look how pretty the little heart is. I hate to ruin it, but that's okay. Okay, so that one definitely swatched more pink for sure. So I feel like the way it looks in the tube is not an accurate representation of what it's looking like on my hand. So that's just my opinion. But I definitely do like that color. So I feel like in the two shades that I picked, I'm happy in the sense that I got one that is kind of definitely a true pink color for when I want to have pink, and the other one kind of passes for more like, I guess it's a neutral on me. It's going to look darker because I have fair skin, so it's going to depend on your skin tone, but I feel like that's a shade that would go with any eye look that you would create, whereas the pink one, obviously you would probably want the look to be a little bit more pink focused. So since we started with, I don't know why I didn't do the blush next, but since we started with the lipsticks, let's go ahead and do that. So I have nothing on my lips right now. I believe I put chapstick on earlier this morning, but I'm sure that that's worn off by now. So I am going to take the shade 02 Too Femme, and I'm going to put this on directly to my lips. Normally, I personally would definitely wear a lip liner. I have very thin lips, and so when I use products like this, I like to go ahead and really define the shape of my lips because they are smaller and more flat. But just to give you the exact effect of what this product looks like when you go directly into, go straight in with it without any other products. So we'll start there. And my lips are a little dry. They're not like horribly chapped, but I think it's worth mentioning that they are dry. So that's a couple of swipes there. There we go. So I actually love that. I'm gonna zoom back out there. So I do think I like this shade better than Sweet Tea. Don't get me wrong though, I really enjoy Sweet Tea as well. I think that this matches the eye look that I did today really well. It's very comfortable. I feel like the nice thing about it is that it is sheer enough that when you're applying it, you don't need to be worried about like, are you gonna be able to get super crisp, perfect straight lines the way you would with like a really dark regular lipstick. So that's nice. Again, this is one that you could be quick about, you know, if you had it in your purse or your bag or something, you pulled it out really quickly, put it on. You know, you could probably do it without a mirror even because it is a sheer enough color. The other thing I wanted to point out is that when I put it on a lot. So you just saw me going around multiple times. So it was buildable. So if you just went in with a one swipe, it would kind of just be like still that chapstick balmy texture with a little bit less of the pink, but it's also buildable if you prefer to have it, you know, built up and to have the darkest it could go. I think this is probably as dark as this one would get personally. But again, if you wore a lip liner under it, potentially you could see it changing the opacity and how dark it gets as well. So the lipsticks are pricey. I believe they were $23, which is a lot of money for one lipstick. However, even though I hated that palette, like just being honest, I hated the palette, I do think that it's a good sign that I'm so into the lipsticks even after a bad experience with the palette. So I fully recommend the lipsticks. Again, be aware of the cost, but I feel like that's a fair price compared to other things. So I think of this, I do think it's fair to call it a lipstick and a balm. So it's kind of like if you're kind of person who puts a chapstick or a balm on and then you go in with your lipstick, how much would it cost to buy the balm and the lipstick? Whereas this is a 2-in-1 situation, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm very comfortable recommending those, and I think they're great gifts for Valentine's Day. The packaging on the outside is beautiful with the butterflies, and then the packaging on the inside with the heart component is also super cute as well. I do just wish that there were some butterflies or something on the outer part of that pink exterior to make it a little bit more exciting. Okay, so we've got everything done minus the blush, which is the last thing I want to talk about. Again, this is what the outer component looks like. It's cardboard packaging. The actual blush itself is also in cardboard packaging with magnetic, and it has the same butterflies and then says Too Faced. The name of the shade is on the back of it here, the Too Femme, which again is the name of the actual collection. And when you open it, it's got that magnetic closure. It does have a mirror with butterflies. And then this is what the inside of it looks like. So it's kind of a bright corally pink. They've got some butterflies and then obviously the brand name embossed on it there with some glitter. So I'm not sure if this is going to be glitter throughout the blush or if this is just something put on the top to make it look really pretty. I'm just going to go straight in with that on camera as well. So we'll zoom in one more time. I'm going to use this fluffy brush from the Wet n Wild Little Twin Stars collection. It's just a dome-shaped blush brush. It's a little bit dirty, but not too bad. So I'm just going to go in first lightly, and it definitely looks like it's picking up that gold glitter off the butterflies, and then it's immediately going away. I do think it's going to be a shimmery blush anyways, but that bright gold glitter specifically just looks like it's overlain on the top. All right, so here we go. And I'm just going to use a little mirror in the component. Oh, you couldn't see me, sorry. So that blended out really, really pretty. It's the shade that I like. I do think it's going to be a buildable shade, so this potentially could be one. So if you have a darker skin tone than me, so here's the side with the blush, here's without, just so you can see the difference. I think that this looks buildable. Let's try. I'm going to go in a few more taps. I went in pretty heavy, honestly. And then let's see if that darkens it. It does seem to darken it. I'm going to do a little just on my nose here. This definitely has the floral fragrance as well, so if you're not a fan of the floral, this one smells floral too. It's not as bad as the eyeshadow palette though. Okay, I'm going on the other side. And that gold glitter is going everywhere, but again, I think that gold glitter is gonna go away after you use the top of it. Like, go over it so many times. Alright, so I like the blush. I'm not sure how, so this is just one shade. Again, I don't know why Too Faced it's a big enough brand that if they're gonna come out with face products like this, I don't understand why we can't have at least 3 to 5 that come out in different shades so that they match better with different skin tones. This feels just a kind of like a mid-tone corally pink to me. I do think that it has a nice natural glow to it that kind of makes me feel, I don't know, fresh and springy is the way I would probably describe it. The blush is expensive though, so I do think that if you are looking for a glowy blush that kind of gives a similar appearance, the one that's coming to my mind are the Milani ones that have the rose imprinted into the powder. Those have always been really, really great to me, and they are cruelty free as well, but significantly cheaper than the Too Faced one. I think the blush was like $26 or $28, so it was a lot for a blush. It is a lot of blush in the compact, so I do think it would last a while, but just something to be aware of. So I don't know necessarily if I would recommend the blush. I like the blush. If you're looking for an item from the collection, and you like the butterfly packaging and you don't mind paying that much for a blush, you would enjoy it. I think that just upon first impression, I know it's a blush that I would like, that would go with a lot of things. I do think you need to think about how it would potentially look on different skin tones though, because it is just one shade, unfortunately, which Too Faced definitely can do better with. So to give my final thoughts, first and foremost, the mascara. So I always recommend this mascara. It is prestige brand. It is over $20 for a tube of it, but it does do a great job even on someone like me with not so great lashes. I feel like it works and it looks good. It's not one where you have to build up a ton. 1 or 2 coats is sufficient in my opinion. So that, I've always recommended that and I continue to recommend it. I don't recommend paying extra though for a specialty design on the tube unless you're just over the moon in love with whatever that design is. The eyeshadow palette is absolutely no, so cannot recommend this, would not recommend this. No. And then the blush, again, if you like the packaging, if you're someone who is looking for a product from this collection and you're like, oh, I want to pass on the eyeshadow palette, but I'd like to get something with that butterfly packaging, I think the blush is great. Again, they need more shade tones, but if you like this specific shade and it works for you, and you're okay paying that much for a blush, I think that it's good. The number one recommendation though from the collection would definitely be the lip balm lipsticks. Very big fan of these. Again, they are a little bit more expensive, but I think that the fact that it kind of is a balm mixed with a lipstick together is worth the extra cost of it. So number one recommendation would be one of these. You still get the butterfly packaging if you keep this is the outer component that it comes in. You'd still have something with the butterflies on it, but obviously if you take the lipstick tube out and then throw this away, hopefully you would recycle it because this is recyclable packaging material. But if you threw that out, you would no longer have the butterfly connection to this specific collection. So at the end of the day, I think go out, check out the lipstick balm, see if there's a shade you like, maybe potentially pick up the blush. If you're just looking for a glowy, fresh spring look blush, there are definitely cheaper cruelty-free options you can get at drugstores and at Ulta that would give you the same effect and the same finish. And unfortunately, I have to say, just avoid the eyeshadow palette. It's not worth $38. It does not perform like the other Too Faced palettes. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for sticking around. If you stayed the whole time, let me know if you like these videos where I actually apply the products on my face, or if you prefer the quicker videos where I do a full face of makeup and then sit down with the products and swatch them and talk about what my thoughts are on them. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully in our next Too Faced video we'll have something better than what we had in this one. Really, really disappointed in that palette. But have a good day, stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.